Hi, everybody. Is this thing on? Cool. So, welcome to Genre Mongrel, where we usually play Lost City Social Paradox, but today we're taking a little bit of a side quest. I am clearly not Groupie Twos. I am Red, and I'm going to have us go around the table and introduce ourselves before we kick off what we're doing tonight. And we'll start with Groupie Twos.
Hi, I am Groupie Twos. Believe it or not. He, him, half-assed, and barely alive today, so y'all are gonna either deal with me or not. Jim, you're up.
My name is Jim, pronouns he, him as well. Normally play Eldaris on Denizens, but we're going completely different today, and I'm excited to learn something new. Who's up next?
Spencer.
Hey, hello everybody. My name is Spencer. I typically play Butcher on the Denizens campaign, but today I'm going to be creating somebody brand new and hopefully completely different.
Last but not least, a new voice. Ty, want to introduce yourself?
Like you said, my name's Ty, also known as Pickle or Pick. You can call me anything but late for dinner, and that's about it.
Awesome. All right, guys. So I'm Red, she, her. I usually play Rook. Today, you get to find out that I'm also a dungeon master. I'm a game mistress. And today, I'm your keeper of arcane lore or arcane bullshit, however you feel like working with it. So we have all gathered here today to dive a little bit, very much skim the surface of the world of the mythos of Call of Cthulhu. Here in hopefully a couple weeks, I'm going to be running a two-shot, might turn into more, we don't know. But it's going to be set in the Call of Cthulhu world. Hopefully I'm going to get to kill a few of these guys off. We'll see what happens. Or just make them go insane.
His fucking name was Lovecraft. I have been blanking on that for 2 hours. Oh my god. Alright, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, like Groupie has said, the Call of Cthulhu mythos and the Call of Cthulhu game is based on the books and the world and all of the eldritch horror that started with H.P. Lovecraft. My game that I'm going to be running and that we are building characters for today is actually the typical classic setting. It's going to be 1920s. Most of the standard Call of Cthulhu games are set in that time, although there are variations for modern day. I've played in it. I was a cranky, angsty teenage college kid. Hilarious.
What was your character? What was your character? When you played it, what was your character? I mean, the angsty teenage...
Thankfully, I was not one of the sexed up hormonal ones trying to hit on each other. I was the, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? Can we go home now? I played it very well. I was very happy about that. I was the slightly social outcast who was brought along by another one of the core group, which feels a little too close to real life for me, so...
A little bit on the nose.
Little. So yeah, there's modern day Call of Cthulhu. There is also fantasy settings. I have run a game where everyone played as a member of Mysteries Inc., including Scooby-Doo. So you can get creative within this world. Life. Okay, it might have to happen. I've got a game all queued up for that one too. But today it's 1920s. We have some investigators to meet, to build, to create, and get them all prepared to go insane. So everyone should have dice. There'll be a little bit of rolling, not much as we build these characters. A lot of the numbers are kind of set. Call of Cthulhu does run on a D100 system for anyone who doesn't know that. And unlike D&D, the lower you roll, the better it is for you. Call of Cthulhu, not D&D, Call of Cthulhu has some pretty fun mechanics that I have actually started to bring into some of my D&D games as well, because why not? Things like being able to push a roll. It's nice. If you fail a roll, you can try again. You have to give your reasoning. And then if you still fuck it up, really bad things are going to happen. And there's a couple other mechanics that are pretty fun too. I don't know. How much do you all know about Call of Cthulhu in general?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh wow. Okay.
I know H.P. Lovecraft a little bit.
Okay.
But in terms of like, I know it's a D100 system. I know there are a crap ton of occupations we can choose because you sent the link earlier to us. Thank you, by the way. Other than that, though, I know that I'm happy to be here.
Fantastic.
At some point, I have played in a version of a Call of Cthulhu game. I don't remember if it was the same system that we are going to be using off of the D100. I do know that in the Mothership games that I was running, because you use 210s, it's almost similar, and that trying to hit under it thing has some overlap there. I know that there was a crit rule in that system for hitting doubles. I don't know if that's the same in Call of Cthulhu.
Never had anyone do it, so I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't think so. Although, if you go into the Warhammer Fantasy roleplay game, it's also on the D100 system. Sounds a lot like Mothership because they have crit rules. You can crit fail by rolling double ones, and you can also,
Crit succeed
crit
when
succeed
hitting under on a double.
and crit fail on a double otherwise. So, also a fun game. Might run one of those too. Everyone can just wog away the day.
I'm a Call of Cthulhu version, so.
Fantastic. But yeah, so Call of Cthulhu in general, the game, it is low combat. And when I say low combat, it's you don't want to get into combat. Your characters are humans, not like D&D humans. They are actual legitimate freaking humans who have
Squishy.
they are squishy. And it is high intrigue. Like for Call of Cthulhu, you have to be ready to ask questions and to think and to want to puzzle and figure things out. It's high horror, body horror, everything theater of the mind. Got to put your heart into the mythos and the eldritchness of it all. And very much unlike a lot of D&D, it is almost 100% theater of the mind. I know that in my two-shot, there will be a few handouts that I'll be showing up on the screen, but overall, there are no battle maps. You kind of get a brief idea of where you are, but really it's a lot of me tracking things on a very crudely drawn piece of paper map and knowing where you are and knowing where any monsters may be. So,
He's
that
behind
said,
me, isn't he?
always. Or above you, or below you.
Hi.
That said, I did give you guys a little bit of homework / a little bit of a head start. So I'm curious, in this game, who do you all want to be? Have we figured out occupations for our investigators yet?
I think so. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I hate like I don't want us to have like an army of like, I'm just going to use an example. We are all, we are like all the authors of the Paranormal Society. I don't want like everyone to be an author. I have something a little different than what I normally play because I tend to play, in Denizens, I'm the cleric. In the one shots I've done, I've been like the rogue. I haven't been really a brute kind of character, so I kind of think I'm going for an old school 1920s boxer.
Heck yes. All right. So we've got a boxer.
So
that's
I'll
phenomenal.
be honest, when I saw Bible salesman on the list, I did immediately think of you.
I don't know if that's a compliment or like I'm like a con man of some kind. I'll be honest. I was gonna go. There was a part of me that was like, Catholic priest. I could do that one in my sleep, playing the character really well. But I'd be so typecast, and I don't want to be typecast. So I'm gonna go with the boxer.
All right, so we've got one boxer. We see. Now, was that one that you found in one of the links I sent you, or is that one that I get to come up with stuff for?
It was the D100 Obsidian Portal.
Yep.
That's where I found it.
Yep. Big ups to Obsidian Portal for having a huge wiki on the various occupations you could have for Call of Cthulhu. Greatly appreciate other people doing the footwork for me. So let me find that. How about everyone else? What are we thinking? Oh, it's right there.
So I had initially, once you said that it was in 1920s, I had started to think about like people that fit, and I again was running through some of the stuff that you had linked for us, and I was also thinking about a Catholic priest, trying to almost pull up a little bit of Father Damien, because again, Exorcist. I'm a horror kid. It's like when Rook said body horror, I was like, oh, be still my heart. So I was thinking about that, but I also had kind of another idea in there. A little bit more grounded to the world. I kind of want to be a communist. And sure enough, there is union activist in the list.
Yes, there is.
I was reading him, and I was like, that's what group he's going to pick. I know he's going to want to be a political troublemaker, and it was really...
So, one thing I will point out is... despite creating the wonderful world of Call of Cthulhu, Miskatonic, all those wonderful, wonderful things, H.P. Lovecraft was really a fucking racist man.
horrible.
Some of those themes bleed over into a lot of his, well, I should say, used to bleed over a lot into the classic Cthulhu just because they took it from those books. I tend to play less on the racist side. However,
Thank goodness.
union activist sounds like it will be entertaining, so we're going to see what happens.
Well, in
All right.
true communism, anybody that's, and for anybody that just doesn't actually know me in real life, like I am DSA, TST, and I'm a horrible person. I am the dissident your government warned you about. Thanks, Bo. So, a lot of that, like, workers' rights was absolutely about building coalitions past that anyway. So I think I can do some fun stuff with this. I was trying to decide whether or not I actually have to have an accent, because I'm not good at them, but I might try.
If you start one, if you give me one, I will expect it, and I will ignore you if you do not use it. Please use an accent.
I will work on one and let you know.
Let it be known that for whatever system I am running a game in, I award creativity and silly accents. All right. Spencer, how about you?
Yeah, so I was reading through the list, and I was like, I was honestly caught between a good 3 or 4 of them, and then I decided to stick with what I know, and I decided to be a fireman.
Well, who knew?
You know, it's worked out for me so far, so we're really gonna try it.
All right.
This one's got a cooler backstory than I do in real life, though. So
You've already made a backstory. I love it.
I've made story beats for him. I've made a reason for him to like have a chip on his shoulder to sort of make him an interesting guy.
All right, Pickle, I know we kind of threw you in at the last minute. Do you know one that you want to be? I think you mentioned one to me, but I'm going to see if you're still sticking with it.
Oh, yes. I always try like new characters or new classes or something when I play a game. And even so, more so in like different systems. So I think this is going to be my first time playing a woman. I'm going to be a cocktail waitress.
Hell yeah.
Yep. And I got a name for her too. Jeanette P. What was got a name? Abernathy.
Love it. All right. So I am going to you know what? No. I was going to build a character alongside you guys, but honestly, my ADD might just not handle that. I will spend too long staring at my own screen, so we're going to focus on y'all. Okay. So the first step of all this, keeping in mind that you all have a general idea of at least the current occupation of the person who will become your investigator. Phenomenal. Things to keep in mind, as I've already said. This is not D&D. You're not a hero. You're a regular human being. There are no spells, for the most part. There is no magic, for the most part. There are very few fighting skills, very few weapons. This is also the 1920s. So one of my usual favorite characters favorite pastimes of drinking is insanely taboo, which just makes it more fun. But the other thing to think about is, how old is your character? Are they old? Are they younger? Sometimes that can play into how you allocate your points. So I'm going to put this in the chat too, just so you all have it in front of you, and it's not just me telling you this and you guys having to keep track of this. But so you have, if you look on the character sheet, you've got your main characteristics. There's strength, which is your raw physical power. Constitution, which is the measure of your health and hardiness. Power, different from strength. Power is a combination of your force of will, your spirit, and your mental stability. A lot like what we think of as constitution as well. Dexterity, we all know that. Measure of yours, investigators, physical agility and speed. Appearance. So your appearance is going to measure the physical appeal of your character. Sometimes being prettier, such as a pretty cocktail waitress, will get you further than being, say, not one. Possibly being a boxer who's down on his luck and has a broken nose that just kind of sits all crooked. It's all depending on the people you're talking to. The other two stats in there that we're going to look at right now is your size, that is combined height and weight, your intelligence, pretty much your cunning and your ability to make leaps of logic and intuition, and education, which is, as we all know, the knowledge that your investigator has accumulated through not only formal education, but also through potentially the School of Hard Knocks. So, you all are going to get 8 number values that I'm going to plug into the chat. Bam. So for everyone else, they are 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, and 80. These are essentially your percentage number. So if you put, say, 50% into power, that means that you have power of 50 in that box marked regular. I am going to share my screen just so anyone watching can see what this character sheet looks like. I just have to find... Here we go. Don't need to see all those, but there we go. So, character sheet, and here are your characteristics. We're not dealing with the ones further to the right, but we are going to work on this first 4. So I want you guys to think about what your occupation is, who you envision your character to be, and start assigning those numbers. For some of you, the occupation you've picked will actually modify those numbers a little bit, but we'll get there once you've picked your numbers. Again, the higher numbers in this case are better, because when you are rolling for things such as a dexterity roll, you want to make sure that you're rolling under the number that you have. And if you look on all of these boxes on the sheet, you will get regular, half, and I think that says 5th. So what those mean, while these guys are filling in their numbers, hopefully, is that you have your standard roll. If you roll underneath it, congratulations, you succeeded. If you roll under half, that is a hard success, which means something better might happen, especially if you're like looking for something or trying to perform something. It means that you've done better. And then if you roll under the 5th, that means that you'll get an extreme success, which is essentially the same as getting a critical. So the higher that regular number is, the more chances you have to get a critical success. And feel free to ask questions of me as we build.
Okay, so one more time, the under your regular is a success, under your half is a crit success, and under a 5th is like a stupid success.
So, under your regular, congratulations, you succeeded. Just a success. Under your half is a hard success, which means that you've done better than average. And then under the 5th is a critical success.
Okay.
Or an extreme success. People use different terminology. I usually go with critical. So I decided I am going to play around, because why not? I don't know if I spelled zoologist right. You know what? We're just going to go with zookeeper.
Sizes, you said, I'm sorry, sizes, height plus weight, kind of?
Yeah, so think of size as like your presence. And you can determine what that means. Like if you want to be just strong himbo, then you put the 80 in there and you can be tall and broad. If you want to be someone who's very minute, you are down in the 40s. I'm actually going to pull something else up because I can. Okay.
Before I make it my absolute dump stat with my 140, can you give me examples of how I might use power?
So power will be used, say you say at some point something comes along and you're looking somehow into the mythos. You have found some sacred text, you have encountered some being, and you need to attempt to invoke that. That would be when you use power.
Yes, I am comfortable with that being my dump stat.
Yes. Not everyone has to be great at the mythos.
I think I got my character scores pretty down.
What are you looking like?
Definitely like strong as hell, even though he doesn't necessarily look it. With a little bit of that force of personality and just like, I don't know, I might not have a great understanding of what this otherworldly stuff is, but I'm gonna plow through it because that's what I do, because I'm hard-headed. It's like, that's great. They're stubborn. I'm stubborn too. Who is much more comfortable probably taking a punch than dodging it.
So, think the way I'm going with like the whole union activist thing, like strength, con size, hits those 350s. Dexterity and appearance went ahead and dropped the 60s in there. So I'm average guy, decent worker and everything. But at some point in my career as a card carrying member of the Wobblies, I need to find out when the Wobblies were founded. Anyway, everybody figured out like, nah, he's too much of a talker. We need to put him somewhere that matters. At which point, that education and intelligence is where my top scores are going.
1905, by the way.
Thank you. Oh. You can be a communist at the founding of the Wobblies. Y'all don't know what a dream this is for me.
So one thing with these wonderful sheets, you will see that when you fill in a few of your items, your hit points and your magic points will be automatically generated, which is great because it reduces math for us. And that the two remaining things, actually the two, luck and sanity. So once I know that everyone's kind of once your scores are locked in, we'll move forward with those.
So just to make sure, right? So power is like a sense of like almost willpower.
Power is like magic ability.
Because I was looking at the Chaosium, the thing that you sent us, and it was like power, force of will, spirit, and stability, like mental stability.
Yeah, so the mental stability, that's going to play a lot into your sanity.
Right.
And how you handle things that are happening in the world to you.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I got my scores locked in. I don't know about if the rest of you guys have figured yours out.
So to give an example of kind of what all these numbers mean, we'll use power as an example because that's the one that's kind of that murky gray area that we're kind of unsure about. If your power is 0, you are enfeebled in mind, you have no willpower and no magical potential at all. If you're around 15, you're weak-willed and you're going to be easily dominated by those with a greater intellect or willpower. 50, you're an average human. Maybe you can reach out to the mythos, maybe not. If you're at 90, you're very strong-willed, driven, and you have a high potential to connect with the unseen and magical. So those are going to be people kind of like your fortune tellers and your magicians and things like that are going to come higher up in power because they're the ones that are already somewhat believers. I'm going to start using some numbers that might surprise you. 100 means that you have an iron will and a strong connection to the spiritual realm or the unseen world. If you're at 140, you are beyond human and possibly alien. One thing about this game is that as you play and as you succeed in things, you actually, there's no leveling up in Call of Cthulhu. You remain basic ass humans, but there is improving. So kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but at the end of sessions, if there are times when a non-core occupational or personal skill that you have, you manage to crit succeed on, there's a little checkbox next to all of these skills, and you can see them along the sides to the left. If those are checked at the end of a game, you get a chance to roll to see if you improve that score.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I do believe, and I've not played a campaign yet. I have the materials to. I want to take a group through Masks of Nyarlathotep. But until then, I believe that you can also increase your power, your strength, and pieces like that too. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're talking about with power. Power is very mythos and magic connected versus just strength or constitution.
Right on. I would
very
like
long
to
explanation.
Take a moment just to recognize when somebody does something amazing. You just straight up said Nyarlathotep with no hesitation, and like that was impressive, and I think we need a round of applause.
Thanks, I practiced. No. I love me some Call of Cthulhu, man.
That's not one of those that people just throw out there in the middle of a conversation, and you did not skip a beat. That was impressive.
Yeah, I was sitting here earlier today and actually Googling about, somehow I got down a rabbit hole of Call of Cthulhu, and it got to like the creature that Call of Cthulhu like mated with and had kids with, like 4 of them, and it's just like they all look creepy, and it's just like I don't want to think about the logistics. But fun things about Call of Cthulhu, guys. There's more. All right. How are we looking, guys? Do we have our stats filled in?
Gas stats.
I think so.
Yeah, are we all going to go through and like tell what our scores are, or are we keeping it secret?
Go for it.
All right. So,
wait, hang on. You're not done yet. I forgot. So some of you, because of the occupation you chose, get to add a few things. I am so sorry, union activist groupie. You get nothing.
Okay, so we're talking about the special there?
We are. So, Jim, your boxer gets to go ahead right now and add 2 to their con, 1 to their strength, but you have to take away 2 for your education. Spencer, you're going to add 1 to your strength.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 to your constitution.
Uh-huh.
And you get to add, so further down at the bottom, oh no, wait. Yeah. So in your skill section, this nice big one,
Uh-huh.
there are blanks after throw and track.
There are.
Fill one in to say firefighting, and then roll a d20.
Oh God, this is never good.
It's all right. It's got a big modifier. You'll be fine.
Thank goodness. Oh, that's actually great. 14.
Cool. So you're going to do 14 plus 40. So 54 is going to be your base firefighting skill.
Wow, I'm so cool.
Yeah, you're the only one that got a new special skill. And then Pickle, your cocktail waitress, gets a
Yes.
+1 to her appearance. And unfortunately, -2 to her education.
That works for my backstory for her. I'm coming up with right now. So
Beautiful. Let me see. I didn't look to see if mine had any things. Nope. Sorry, zookeepers get nothing special either. Wonderful.
that sucks
Makes it easy.
because they're really smart people and they're very kind, so they should at least get a point somewhere.
I mean, I did put her 80 in her education, so awesome. All right. So now, where are your characters at? We'll start with Groupie.
I know that in 1905 I was in Chicago.
I just meant your character is.
I was gonna say.
Let's go.
So
Tell me a story. Let's do this.
I want to say, because in the sheet at the top, it's got both your birthplace and your residence.
Yep.
And I was trying to figure out, like, where, if anywhere, I was going to put that accent. I listened to probably way too much Utah Phillips and Ani DeFranco and a few other activists, like more folk, less folk punk. Nothing against my crusties out there. I love you. Fucking hobos. So I'm definitely thinking that you know what? I was born in the Atlantic on my parents' boat ride to the States. And they being immigrants, probably coming out of the tail end of the Civil War as everything's trying to build back up. Traveled from east to west across the entire top of the country, so I have got all of that traveling under me, and going mining camps and factory cities and everything else, and just more and more as I got older, got into the activism side of things, and have just continued traveling back and forth from New York to Washington and back again. But probably think of Chicago as my one true home. Arcane Keeper of the BS.
Yes.
That is a mouthful. I'm going to have to come up with something shorter.
You can just call me the Keeper.
Keeper. I like it. Keeper. What was the name of the ship I was born on?
I think the name of the ship. Okay, so was this like a privately owned ship, or was this a ship full of other immigrants that was transporting, also doing other trade?
Definitely a trade ship of some sort, and we were not the only immigrants there. If anybody has seen, what is it, 1899 on Netflix, where they had everybody under the hold and there's like a dozen languages going around, that's kind of what I've got pictured.
Then I believe that the boat that you were on was called the Red Dawn.
It's the wrong set of 80s, but okay.
I'm so sorry.
Love it. Love it.
I can't help that everything in this corner of my room that I can look at right now is red. There's an AMD Radon box and a couple other things that are all just bright red. So there we go.
Copy that.
It was either that or New Hope, and I don't think that anyone would be happy with me if I said it was the New Hope. So mixing fandoms. Here we go.
Um. do. I forgot what the question was.
Characteristics.
The scores?
Yeah. What do those look like? Are you strong?
No. I am a face.
Okay. Give me some things and I'll tell you what it means.
So let's start from the top down. Intelligence 80.
Okay. Which indicates, well, actually, you probably know a couple of languages, which goes into your backstory very nicely. So you are above average human intellect, not quite genius level, but pretty damn smart.
Education 70.
Okay. You were probably a college graduate with a bachelor's. Or something of that level equivalent in the world.
Yeah, at some point I probably had to actually sit still for a couple of years to get a degree under my belt to continue on with my activism work.
Okay.
But a lot of that is more engineering, technician, and mechanical from just the different factories and whatnot through the industrialization that I was around my whole life.
Okay.
60s in appearance and dexterity.
All right. So pretty much average human dexterity and average appearance. Anything around anything that's kind of that middling 30 to 80 is pretty much average, but then on that scale of average.
Um, 50s are going to be that strength, constitution, and size.
Yep.
Not a big
So
guy.
for size, I was about to say, it means that you are slightly less than moderate height and weight.
Yeah, small enough to get into some of the worst places. Big enough to still, swing and pull.
I almost
whatever I
forgot to ask a very important question. How old are you?
40.
Okay. So I'm going to have we're going to make 2 improvement checks. Just give me 1 second because I need to refresh my memory on those.
Madrugada Vermelha was the name of the ship as it was leaving Portugal.
Beautiful. All right. So, what I want you to do. So, you're going to make 2 improvement checks for education, which means that I am going to have you roll. What is that? It's going to be 2d10. So, roll 1d10 and roll another 1d10.
Yeah, off the desk.
Oh, sorry. God, I'm an idiot. 2 D100 rolls. First, we've got to see if you're improving on anything at all. So, 2 D100s.
64 for the first one.
Is that under your education?
Barely.
All right.
14 for the second one.
Woo! All right, so 2 passes. Now you're going to roll 2d10.
95.
That is, no. Just 2
9 and a 5.
Beautiful. So you're going to add 14 more points to your education.
Yeah, I am.
Beautiful. Reduce your appearance by 5.
Eh.
And you're also going to get to pick. You need to deduct 5 total points amongst your strength, constitution, or dex. Or dex. So 5 total from 3 characteristics. It's the whole older, wiser thing, but not so much the older, stronger thing.
For sure.
Beautiful.
All right.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and have you do this thing. Roll me 3d6.
Spencer, I would just like to say thank you for my Christmas present. I've got like my whole menu laid out here, so whatever you ask me for, like I've got it ready to go.
Hell yeah.
3d6. Am I adding it up?
Yes.
12.
Okay. So times that by 5.
60.
Okay. That is going to be your starting luck points.
Love it.
Now, your sanity, we are going to start you off at 99. Well, now that's a conundrum. We've got one page that says that your power is your starting sanity. Nah, we're starting you at 99. That's gonna be the thing. So, 99 for your sanity, and that goes for everyone. Everyone starts with 99 on your sanity because you're fresh little baby investigators who haven't seen the mythos yet. Cool. I think that is you finished for the beginning. What I want you to start thinking about now, and I know that you each have seen your occupations. And there are the starting skills in your occupation. If there are not already 8 options in those skills, I want you to take a look at what's on this list, or if you have one that you think would be more fitting, put that in a list, because you're going to have numbers to attribute to 8 occupational skills. And that goes for everyone. Now,
What if there are skills that it says we have but are not written on here?
those go in the blank boxes.
Okay, so like, just to double check, for example, one of my skills is quote act, which fantastic, but it does not exist on the character sheet. I just put it. Do I put it down where I put firefighting, or do I put it?
So there's an empty box. There's a couple empty random boxes too that you can add in. I would almost say that acting could kind of go into the art/craft skill. So you'll notice I'm pointing to a screen as if I'm presenting and you can actually see it, but you can. Under archaeology, there's a spot that literally says art/craft underneath it. So you can use that box, or you can use a box at the bottom. It really doesn't matter as long as it's somewhere on the sheet.
Cool.
May I ask a question about my skills?
Yes.
So everything I can do is some kind of fighting maneuver?
Yep.
The only thing I see on the sheet is fighting brawl.
Yes. So That is one thing. Let me grab my little cheat sheet that has your stuff on it. So Brawl is going to be different for you. So you are going to have the skills for punching, grappling. Dodge is going to be one of yours. I think grapple's grapple's not on here. But dodge is.
Mm-hmm.
Throw is. Kick is not. And headbutt is not. So you'll be adding those in. And then you can pick, like, what else would this brawly guy be good at? But yeah, you're kind of getting to play around with that a little bit. If you want him to be a little quirky, and he's got a few other skills, and we'll go into all of those numbers and things as we go. But for right now, why don't you talk to us about your characteristics?
Sure. Do you want me to give my whole little backstory too, or just the characteristics?
If you'd like to.
All right. So, Giacomo Molinaro, known by his friends as Jack, was born in Naples, Italy. His family came over to New York, moving to Hoboken, New Jersey, when he was a baby, so he can speak English very well. Still has that kind of stereotypical Italian accent, though, that you would associate with the East Coast of the United States and the city in particular. Not much for school, but, developed a bit of a protector mentality for the people in his, grade who were getting bullied because, they're gonna bully the kids who don't talk right. And so he would, make sure that the little guy was kind of not messed with. This turned into a fairly successful boxing career, at least locally. Yep, he enjoys it. Kind of is seen as as a fairly good guy. Has been asked by some shadier people to throw fights, but he does not throw fights. And where a lot of times where this would get him in trouble, he kind of would just kind of take everything on the chin, either taking a beating and being like, "Is that all you got?" Or if you've ever found out who was supposed to take him out, go right up to their door and be like, "I heard you were supposed to take me out. I'm here to save you the trouble. Let's go." Which has earned him kind of that begrudging respect of people of like, don't mess with him. Just let him do his own thing. So generally still like that family oriented, cries when his mom yells at him, kind of bull in a china shop. For his scores, he is an 81 in strength. He is a 72 in constitution. His size is 60. His appearance is 60. Power and intelligence are both 50. His education is a 48, thanks to a couple of lessons on the street. And his dexterity is a 40 because he is much more comfortable taking a punch than he is dodging it. In terms of age, he is 30.
Okay, so give me one D100 roll.
Oof. Oh, that's not bad. 29.
All right. Then let's roll 1d10. And I will point out to anyone that could be watching this that actually knows Call of Cthulhu and character creation really, really well. I am still a baby keeper. And I'm doing it this way now because I didn't see this before, but we're supposed to be rolling greater than your education to improve. I forgot that when you do improvements, you're supposed to roll higher than your number. But I did it for a groupie. We're going to do it for everybody. Get a little extra education. So yeah. You can
I
add
got
your
an-
D10.
A 9.
Beautiful. So you're going to add 9 to your education. I'm just
Very
going to have
nice.
some decently smart investigators for my game, and it'll be fine.
Okay, so now his education is a 57.
Fantastic. Cool. So start looking at those occupational skills while we move to Spencer.
Bonsoir.
Well, hello.
So my character's name is James Ashley Williams. Originally born in Boston and has finally made his way back to Boston, where he currently resides. He is currently 23 years old. And should I do my stats first, or should I do the backstory first?
Either one.
I'll start with the story, and then I'll go over my things.
There you go.
So James had originally traveled the world as a child due to his father being a career officer in the military. His two brothers also traveled with him. He was the youngest. Eventually, as they grew and they graduated high school, they joined the Army and the Navy. After, a family full of distinguished military people, James had intended to join the Army after high school. However, in his late middle school years, around 14 years old, he was caught in a house fire, and the burns that he sustained from that fire actually barred him from joining the military. So he chose to become a fireman in the place of his birth, Boston, and he's been there since his graduation.
Hell yeah. I dig it. All right, let's talk some stats. That burning's going to have a thing or two to do with his appearance.
Oh, absolutely, and I fully intend that. That was where that 40 went, actually, to start with that being funny. So, top of it, obviously, is his strength, which is an 81. Power, or his, resolve and ability to get past, is his 70. My two 60s are Constitution and Dexterity, with a +2 to Constitution. And then my 50s are Intelligence, Size, and Education. And my 40 is in Appearance.
All right. And let's see. You said you were in your 20s, so you're going to roll me a D100.
Rolling a D100. I rolled a 14.
All right. That 14 is a good roll in my own creation, because, heck, homebrew it up. So roll me a 1d10.
A D10. Alrighty. That is a 3.
All right, so you're going to add 3 to your education.
Alrighty. So
and
smart.
One thing I'm going to have you do, and I'm also going to have Jim do, because I forgot, is roll me 3d6. Let's go.
3d6.
I almost forgot to give you your luck.
What? Alrighty. That's going to be a 13 for me.
Just an 8 for me.
All right, you're going to multiply that by 5.
Oh god,
Jim's
a
luck is
massive part.
actually worse than my zookeeper's, and I rolled like poo. So,
Ooh, that's actually pretty good luck.
there you go. So, we're moving to Pickle next. But I wanted to say one thing about luck points. Luck points are a very fun mechanism. It's kind of like DM inspiration, but it's always there. So basically, if you make a roll, say you are rolling psychology and you're trying to figure out what's going on with someone, and you get a hard success, but you're like 2 or 3 points away from it being a critical success, and you know that part of the plot, part of the story, some important piece of information is very likely riding on that roll, you can spend your luck. You can spend up to, and this is a little bit of a homebrewed kind of rule for me, you cannot spend more than 5 luck on a roll. It's not fun. So up to 5 points on a roll for something that you really, really want to do. If you're failing and you want to succeed, use them. Now, there will be situations where you have to roll for luck. And that is where spending your luck can become a negative, because that lowers that number down and makes it a lot harder to roll under. So you've got to kind of balance out your luck. Luck can be regained at the end of sessions. You will roll to add a little bit more luck back into your pool. But it's harder to get luck back than to spend it, clearly. Kind of like money. Spending is easy. Getting it back takes a lot more work. So. Go. Now, Pickle, tell us about your cocktail waitress.
Oh. She was a young lady that lived on a ranch in Wyoming where she grew up, isolated because of her good looks. She absconded in the middle of the night on her train. That's about it.
Alrighty.
Her education's 48. Her appearance is 81. Power 50. Size 50. She's kind of... She's a powerhouse. Short little powerhouse. Kind of.
Love it.
Yep.
Short and stacked.
Yep. Intelligence is 70. She's actually pretty quick. 60 dex, 60 con, and 40 strength.
All right. How old is she?
24.
All right. So we're going to do a D100 roll.
15.
Fantastic. Roll me a D10 and add that number to your education.
Digital dice. Or my dice print off too. Ooh, that's a 3.
All right. And then go ahead and roll me 3d6 as well. We're going to get your luck on there.
Does that go anywhere? Or no?
The 3? The 3,
Yeah, the 3.
You're going to add that to your education number.
Okay. Sweet. Here's the 1 minus 5. Okay. What was the next thing? Sorry.
Roll 3d6.
Oh, for luck?
Mm-hmm.
I already got that for luck. That's
Beautiful.
50.
All right. Okay, so that's going to bring us into occupational skills. These are going to get a little bit more granular for each character. There's different skills that go along with certain careers. If it's a homebrew career or something that hasn't been established by someone out there on the World Wide Web already, that's when we would sit down and have a conversation about what skills would fit that character and things like that. I feel like I still want to walk you all through all of this, but it is a little bit more of the minutia as we start really digging into that. I am going to say that you're going to pick those occupational skills, and I'm going to, again, put in our chat the values that you get to associate with each of your occupational skills. You can see from my writing that I did indeed put this into an outline. And you'll also get to pick some non-occupational skills that are going to get a percentage boost. I am doing this for those watching as a quick start version. There are times when you would sit there and roll out for everything, or at least your main pieces, and then take it from there. I am opting not to do that. It gets very granular. Sometimes you get really shit rolls, and there's already enough very low scores in Call of Cthulhu that I feel like it's not necessarily a thing where I want to add more negatives to everything. But I do want to point out something as you look at this character sheet. So you're going to see things like accounting, 5%. So based on the D100 system where 100 is 100%, that means that unless you have that as a career or a non-career skill, your percentage is 5. So to succeed on something that would require an accounting roll, which to be fair, I've never encountered once in Call of Cthulhu so far, you would have to roll under a 5. Other things like psychology, normal ass people start at 10. Throwing, 20. These numbers are low because people, again, are normal ass humans in this game.
I love the ones that have 1%.
Oh, yeah.
Like anthropology.
Yeah, that's fun.
Normal ass person has no clue.
Yeah, you gotta be someone who actually studies that. Other things that come up and that are also included in those backgrounds that we've seen or talked about are contacts, such as boxing promoters, sports writers, members of organized crime. That would be for our boxer. Our union activists would know other labor leaders, possibly socialists, communists, and subversives, or some organized crime people as well. Imagine that. Our fireman is going to know some different civic amenities. And our cocktail waitress is going to know customers, possibly some gamblers, and depending on where she works, some organized crime members. These are things that may or may not ever come up in game. They are fun backstory pieces, but sometimes those can really play to the advantage of a character if you can think of a reason to reach out to them. Hey, I know a bookie that might know about whatever. Or, oh, is there anyone in this bar that I might know from being a regular at the restaurant? Things like that. Again, I reward people who dig deep, who pay attention to their backstories, who pay attention to these things like their contacts, because that stuff can come into play. The other thing I want to go ahead and do right now is we're going to check everyone's credit rating. That one's the fun number that has a 0% for everyone.
Really quick.
Yes.
Just a skill question. Numbers on the skills don't add up. They add up to 9.
What do you mean?
You see, we get values to allocate to 8 occupational skills, but there are 9 in your breakdown.
That's because I don't know how to type. Let me see. Damn it, there are. Find where I found that. Okay.
After you correct that, I've got a question of my own.
You know what? Fuck it. You get 9.
Woo-hoo.
So we get to pick one like non-occupational skill to give the last whatever to.
Yeah. 8 occupational skills and then 4 non-occupational skills. Sorry, 9. 9 occupational, 4 non. Did I just make it more confusing or did I clear that up?
A little bit of both.
I was going to say. Okay, because we have the 8 skills that are associated to each of our classes, right? We use
So each class, actually, some of the classes don't have 8, written on your class. So I'm saying that you get to pick. So whatever is already recommended in that character thing, we're gonna in your little occupation, we're gonna go ahead and count. But then if there's less than 9. You get to pick other ones that fit into occupational skills, and I'm letting you use your discretion on that.
Got it.
Beyond that, you'll get to pick 4 that are non-occupational skills that are from hobbies, life, whatever, and those will be the other ones that you get to assign points to.
Now I get it. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, you're good. good. Yeah, numbers. Am I right? Yay math. Yay everything that has to do with this game.
And I feel like that kind of leads into the question that I was going to have. So under Union Activist, my list of skills, which first of all is a list of 12, which is ridiculous. But I was looking at that list and the list of skills on the sheet, and like Spencer was talking about earlier, a lot of them aren't on there. So I was looking for things that translate well.
Yeah.
One example is I, as a union activist, operate heavy machinery. And then I look at the character sheet and I see mechanical repair. I feel like that translates pretty well. I can just use that. Also, individually listed under my skills under Union Activist, and the reason that there's 12 in the first place is fist/punch, grapple, headbutt, kick. Like, I feel like that all could just be fighting/brawling.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think, and I know this is going to make things harder for Jim because that's half of his things. Let me pull that up because I'm not sure I want to combine all of them. But, so punch, grapple, headbutt,
And kick.
So fist, grapple, and headbutt, you can combine into one. That is just going to be brawl. Fighting brawl.
Okay.
Headbutt or kick, I feel like you can use for things outside of brawling. And I think that sometimes, I don't know. I am making the call that brawl or that kick is going to be separate and throw is already separate. As is dodge. So that might make things a little bit more convoluted.
Nope.
But
Just means I get to do a little bit more work, which is I'm starting from zero anyway, which is fine. Now, one small question. It says 4 non-occupational skills, and I assigned 20. So am I correct when I say, and I'm just, because it's the top of the list, accounting is 5%, right? Would I add the 20 to the 5 to get the 25?
No. So that would be that those are your numbers.
Got it. So it'd be 20. I'd put 20 in accounting. If I took accounting.
Oh, as a non-occupational skill? Yes.
Yes.
That's literally just going to add 20. Oh, no. Sorry. That adds 20 to the skill, to the base skill value. So, yes, that would take it to 25.
Okay. And for the occupational skills, just the flat number.
Correct.
Great. Awesome.
Yay for convoluted skill
No, it's all good.
building.
It's all good. I just need to
Math.
I need to math, and I need to figure out more occupational skills for myself.
Yeah. But before we do that, I want to talk about everyone's credit rating. So let's see. I'm gonna look again at everybody's thing. We've got upper to lower middle class. Okay. Upper lower to lower middle class. Excuse me. All right. Yep. I need to... Sorry. Credit rating is one of those things that is absolutely difficult for me to figure out sometimes. Here we go. I know how we're going to do this. All right. I know what we're going to do. This is going to require me to math. Not y'all. Groupie. And I've got modifiers. We're going to do this thing.
Okay, I'm ready.
Roll me. Yeah. Let's see. So I want to see. I'm sorry. I want to see if anyone else has. Okay. Ha. Okay. Got your intelligence. What is your character's intelligence again?
80.
Okay. I'm gonna say. Roll
Sorry to interrupt.
me. Uh-huh.
What are the checks next to the skills for again?
That is for in-game if you have a non-occupational skill, so something that doesn't already have a new number in the box. If you get a critical success on a roll, so say sleight of hand is not part of your core anything, you did not modify that one at all. It's a 10 and you rolled a 2. That would mean that you critically succeeded on that roll, and at the end of the session, you can roll to improve your sleight of hand. So in game, you will click the checkbox so that at the end of the game, you remember to roll improvement for that.
Okay, and so I don't put that's just for like in the game. I don't need to put those for any of the ones that I've been modifying so far.
No, don't mark the checkbox because you'll know that you've modified it because there'll be a new number in the box and not just the percentage written on the sheet.
Sweet. Okay, just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Not a problem. Roll me a d6, groupie.
6.
Okay. So you are going to be average. I'm going to say, let's see, what number did we just come up with? You are going to have, make sure that you are at your, on page 2 at the bottom, there's this thing that says wealth.
Okay.
So it'll have your spending level, cash, and assets. Cash for you is going to be $28.
Got it.
All right. Your assets are going to be $700 worth of assets. You can decide what that looks like. Oh, wait. Did I do that wrong? No, I didn't. I did it right. And your spending level, which is kind of money you have on hand to spend at once at a time, is $10.
Which is pretty good for 1920.
Yes, that is, especially when your career, I'm kind of ignoring the career thing because I like to make sure people have a little bit of something to go with, but usually out of work, I feel like you'd still have a lot of skills that have still helped you earn money, whether you're out of work or not.
Yeah, like, and I know the Wobblies have only been around for about 15 years, but I kind of got where I needed to be pretty quickly, so I get a little check going to a fund.
Yeah.
I just got to go to Chicago once a year to make sure everything's still getting taken care of.
Yes. Oh, and I'm sorry, at the bottom of sheet 2, it also talks about the skill and characteristic roles. Anything a 96 or above is a fumble. If it's less than your skill, or it's more than your skill number, no matter what, it is a fail. It's equal or less than, it's a regular success. If it's half of your skill number, it is a hard success. If it's a fifth, it's an extreme success. And if you get a 1, it's a crit success. Now, Jim. Education again?
Education is a 57.
Okay. and give me a D6.
6.
Beautiful. All right. So for your credit rating, very nice. You are at the very low end of average. So you have $22 in cash. $550 saved up from your boxing matches in assets. And your spending level is also 10.
10 spending level, 22 cash, and assets are 550, did you say?
Yes.
Very good.
All right. Spencer, education?
My education is at, one moment, 53.
Okay. And roll a d6.
Rolling a D6, a single D6. 5.
Beautiful. That makes this really easy. You have $20 in cash.
Cash. This is at my things, right?
Yeah, page 2, down towards the bottom.
So cash, $20.
Your assets are worth $500,
Oh.
whatever those may be. And your spending level is also $10.
Okay.
All right. Is Pickle back? Yes. Awesome. All right. Remind me, Pickle, of your education again.
Education. We did a buff on that, so it's 51.
Okay. And then roll a d6.
Come on, digital dice, do your thing. 6.
Awesome. All right. So you have $22 on hand.
Sweet.
You have just $550 of assets.
All in dresses, of course.
And shoes. Don't forget about shoes.
Yeah, and the
and your
That's a given.
spending level is $10.
total because of all the shoes.
Beautiful. Yeah. And there are opportunities in game to earn money, to, spend money, to do all kinds of things. You can use money for bribes, for purchasing equipment and things that you might need. There's a lot you can do. So, again, like I said, a lot of what we're going to get into next is insane minutia as we talk about occupational skills and things like that. So what I kind of wanted to talk about, I don't know how long we want to kind of keep this going on the stream as we dig into the minutia. We can roll with it. We don't have to. But what I wanted to talk about was just the fact that there are so many different ways that you can take this game, places that you can go with it, and things that you can do with your characters, with your investigators. It's always really fun for me to see where people put things and why, as they pick the rest of their occupational skills, as they go through their non-occupational skills and those kind of a thing. And it's really fun that we've already got some people choosing to be from other places in the world and then kind of coming wherever we are going to have them meet, because Call of Cthulhu can be set anywhere in the world. It started in Massachusetts, in Portsmouth, in those kind of areas where the mythos all began through H.P. Lovecraft. But Again, as I referenced before, and I just am going to do it now because I like saying the name, but Masks of Nyarlathotep is a ginormous 2-book campaign, and it takes players to New York, to London, to Cairo, Nairobi, Shanghai, Australia, and Peru. Like, having a campaign in Call of Cthulhu means you can go anywhere and do anything. And as long as your investigators aren't, dead or literally certifiably insane and put into an asylum, but hey, sometimes you can crack them out of that asylum. It's good stuff. There is no end to what you can do with this game. There are a lot of rules. It is a lot to take in, as witnessed by the fact that even I am messing them up as I'm leading us through character creation. I am not an expert of Call of Cthulhu by any means, but I really love running games in the Call of Cthulhu system. They are fun. It is cool sometimes to get to mess around with Eldritch Horror. So if we lose you after we start really digging into this, just keep that with you. That there are so many different versions of Call of Cthulhu that you can play that it doesn't have to be 1920s. I'm actually in a game that is called Delta Green, and you're part of a Mythos task force.
Oh no.
Eldritch activity. What?
Froze for a second there.
Ah! Who, me? Oh no.
Either you or me.
Anyway.
We're good.
Anyway, it's fun. It's awesome. Give the game a try. And with that said, let's dig into some really, really deep minutia. So, Groupie, talk to me about your skills.
Oh my God. All right, so first of all, let's talk about what Jim brought up a minute ago with the non-occupational skills. Adding that to the existing percentage that any Joe Schmo already gets. Does that go for our occupational skills? We get that little boost to those too? Okay, so our occupational levels are what they are.
Yes,
okay.
Because those can also increase.
Gotcha.
But you know.
With that in mind, I've been sitting and going through, because again, union activists, like starting off with this list of 12, trying to compare them to what is on the sheet and how to translate everything over has been kind of interesting. So once I've got all those occupationals kind of translated over, I'm looking, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I can fill in a blank, or since you math so well that you gave us an extra occupational skill, I was trying to think of what I might be using there, and I've kind of decided to use Drive Auto as one of my non-occupational skills.
Okay.
Thinking that at some point I'm going to have to, I know the Wobblies and the Teamsters are two different things, but at some point I'm going to have to drive a truck. And since I guess planes are a thing, I was thinking about making pilot my last, my 8th occupational skill. So think I'm probably going to do that, because that sounds like that could definitely be one of those things, especially if I was to ever bring Tomas, by the way, Tomas Caballero, to a campaign setting, having someone that's got piloting available, so that we can do the almost Indiana Jones style map thing. And the pilot just got his brain sucked out by Eldritch Horror, and we get it out, but now the plane's going down. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to save all your asses. But, so, went ahead, filled that in for there. I've got accounting, fast talk, fighting and brawl, law, which is a very big deal when it comes to union activism. Mechanical repair, because I was working before we got a union. Persuade is definitely my top skill with the 70 that you gave us. Because that was what got me into the activism side of things. Being able to sit in a room with a bunch of people that don't want to agree and get them to agree on something. With that comes a little bit of psychology. I went low with that one. That's one of my 40s. So let's see.
And I do think at the end of all this, we can have everyone share their completed character sheets. That way everyone can take a look at what all we've got. But did you go with mechanical repair?
I did.
I'm sorry. And that was based on what?
Again, working in the industrial and the mining and everything before the Wobblies were actually founded.
Yeah. So I'm actually, instead of having you take mechanical repair, unless you literally want to be like a mechanic, sorry, I have the Call of Cthulhu skills out in front of me. I want you to add in a blank, operate heavy machinery.
Okay.
That's going to be what you're looking for, and that is an established skill. So. And that one gives me some examples for pushing, and that gives me some examples for like regular difficulty. It's going to be like operating a crane or a road digger. Hard difficulty would be like having it do some kind of specific or delicate task.
So those two do separate a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that being the case, I'm still looking for a 9th occupational skill, so I'm going to put mechanical repair.
There you go.
Perfect.
And there's also pilot specializations. So that is
like little subsects of pilot.
So pilot, as far as the skill established in the book, can cover air or water equivalent. So you would pick one of the two. So it'd be pilot air or pilot water. So you could write that one in as well.
Right on. I'm going to go ahead and put air.
Yeah.
Thinking for small size airplanes, nothing large. But because I think that can create a pretty good joke that I was born on a boat and don't fucking like boats.
Perfect.
All right, so that does get me all 9 occupational. For my non-occupational, I went with drive auto. Again, as much traveling as I'm doing across the country, the situations that I might be in, I need to be able to operate a vehicle competently. I also went for first aid. Seems like the kind of thing that's going to come up in early industrial processes.
Yep.
I did drop a 20 in firearms for handguns. I was seriously thinking about shotguns. But I think as much as I really took Chicago as my home, like I'm a little bit of a city dweller at heart at this point. So something I can keep in a pocket is probably where I'm going with that.
And so I'm going to pause because that also brings me to weaponry. I am going to go through because some of you can quantify the need to have a weapon that you already own versus going out in game and having to find it, purchase it, bargain for it, whatever. I would say I'm going to go ahead and say you probably do have a pistol.
I was going to ask if I needed to subtract whatever value that has from my $700 worth of assets.
We will have that be part of your assets, and I will get the stats for your firearm as far as damage for you.
Okay. Another point on assets. As I'm traveling, spending a lot of time in flop houses and bunkers. Search out the Union Hall in the area and just go post up there. But in Chicago, would I be able to have an apartment or small house?
I will say that all of you are probably at the level where you have an apartment of some state.
Some home address somewhere.
Yes, you all have a home address somewhere, be it a condominium, an apartment. If you want to have a house, you can. Things like that generally don't come up a lot, or at least haven't in my game so far. So that is up to you of how much of your, that will also be a asset. So you can Google about it and see if you want, because sometimes things will come up where you might have to see about getting rid of an asset or bargaining an asset in order to get something or do something. So again, and it may not. It all depends on how you all play the game. But those things can come into play. So you want to think about that and not just be like, I've got a car and a house. Okay. That's all of your asset money.
So I think for Tomas, the apartment is really like, that's his retirement plan. It is once he is done being on the damn road, he's going home to Chicago. And with, it sounded like, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Spencer was from Boston, and Jim was going to be from, I'll get character names next time. And Jim was going to be from Jersey. So I think I'm probably on the road whenever we do this, more towards the northeast, and just bouncing around Union Halls and flop houses and stuff. So totally unlikely to come up in game, but I kind of want my guy to have it. Like, he deserves it. For my last non-occupational, I went with charm, because I feel like that fits. I've kind of built my guy as more of a face than anything else, and I think that that I'm probably going to end up hitting on Pickle.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It would not.
All right. All right, groupie, I just gave you your stats for your gun. So those can go, you can put that on your character sheet in weapon.
On it, boss.
Now, on that vein, just because we're there, I have a few proposed options for the other three of you. Sorry, 4 other boxes, and my brain just went 4. The other 3 of you. So, for Jim, I feel like your guy's more hand to hand, clearly. So there are things like brass knuckles or a garrote, or just a regular size kind of a knife. Personally, I think the brass knuckles fit best. But if you had another idea, I'm game.
The only other thing, like the brass knuckles work because he's a boxer. The only other thing, thinking back to my 1920s New York area mafia old school, is that if you can't afford brass knuckles, you could certainly afford a Louisville Slugger. So the other thing is, if he doesn't have the brass knuckles, he has a baseball bat.
Okay, so what I will say is that makes sense. And these items, there is a cost associated with each of these items. So that would be what they include for your assets. Those are two, like brass knuckles are cheap. And a club, which should be a baseball bat, is also cheap. So like grand total of $4.
Cool.
I'll say you can have both. So let's see. I'm going to. And so what these numbers are is you've got what the name of it is, which is going to be brass knuckles and a bat. What the skill is associated with them, which is fighting, brawl for both of yours. Firearms handgun is for groupies. Your damage, which is going to be a D3, so you roll a D6 and round down from half, +1, plus DB, and I've got to remember what on earth that means. Oh, your base damage. So we're going to figure that out here in a second too. Your range, which for both of your fighting ones are touch, which means you got to be right up on them. Uses per round, and then cost. Pretty self-explanatory when you kind of look at where you fill them in the combat section. All right, DB is going to be your damage bonus, and that is auto-populated on your sheet. So whatever that is going to be that number, and that is over to the side under your dodge. If you don't see that on your sheet or it didn't auto-populate, let me know, but it should auto-populate.
It did. For me, it's a 1d4.
Beautiful. So for...
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Did you have a question?
So no, I just want to double check. So for the club, the bat, it would be 1d8 +1 +1d4.
Brass knuckles are 1d8 plus just your damage.
Brass knuckles get the +1.
Yeah.
I see. Got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
No questions.
Cool. Spencer, what I'm thinking, and you tell me if there is something different. For your guy, I was also thinking more kind of hand to hand, because I'm feeling like being a firefighter and trying to get through things, he probably carries something very akin to like a Bowie knife on him. Could be wrong.
I'm sorry, just give me 1 second if you don't mind.
And Pickle, I was thinking that your girl would probably have like a stiletto blade, just a long, thin knife that she hides in her garter or in her wherever.
I was kind of thinking a small pistol on the inner thigh, since she's a country girl.
Okay. Let's see what I can come
Thinking
up
two-shot
with.
Derringer?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
with sweet little pearl handles is something real simple.
All right.
Mama gave it to
I'll
her when
say-
she went to the city.
I was going to say, so I fully agree with the combat thing. I sort of like the Bowie knife. Like I said, military family, I'm happy to have like a bayonet that I keep in like my boot. But I was also thinking literally a fire axe, since I already have the skill axe.
Let's see. All right. We can definitely do that. That's just going to be a melee weapon.
But like I said, I'd also like obviously we haven't gone over like everybody's skills and stuff like that. But one of the things I did take for like my personal skills was like firearms proficiency. I figured, like I said, between military family, having proficiency with firearms, and then also melee combat and stuff like that. And then I took I think machinery. So I feel like the mechanics repair. I just feel like sort of hands-on tough life skills that I would have been taught, like how to basically handle and clean weapons. So like obviously I don't think that my character would carry around one, but I think I would have like, at least weapons somewhere around.
All right. So you're saying you probably don't carry weapons on you, but you keep them at home, and you have. I do agree that you have a. It's labeled under hatchet/sickle, but fire axe. So I just gave you those stats.
Like I said, I figured for me maybe like a bayonet, like an old school just knife in my boot type of situation. I do live in Boston. It's not like I walk around without anything.
Yeah, so I'm going to say you've basically got the equivalent of a boot knife or a switchblade. So that's going to be that. Goodness, I'm just letting you all have guns, and I kind of feel like
Well, I'm okay with not having them. I'm okay with my character not being able to keep them. I'm just saying, like, I have the proficiency and know how to use and maintain them.
Yes. Okay. I will agree with that. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, like, I definitely know that I keep one in my apartment in Boston. Like, maybe I have an old school, like, one that literally doesn't have any function aside from being wall-mounted.
Cool.
But, like, that's decoration
historical
and
value.
Yeah, it's something that, like, it was passed down, like, it was, oh, this is blah, 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 and it's like, oh, well, this is so busted that I literally just mounted it up on a wall plaque and never took it down.
Okay. Phenomenal.
Why do you think the bar is called the Winchester?
All right. So. Cool. Got you guys your weapons. Gropey, were we done with character whose name I've already forgotten? Tomas? Right? Am I confusing people?
I am very nearly done. I'm like, there it is. Ha! Found it. So I have been sitting here going blind and counting fingers. All right.
Go on.
Well, I had used the check marks as placeholders for my occupationals. And I've got all my non-occupationals listed as 20 so that as I'm looking through scores, I can know that those are my non-occupationals. So I'm sitting here trying to count up, was it 2 then 2 then 2 then 1, or 1 then 2 then 2 then 1, 1 then 1 then 2 then 1, with the 70%, 60% 1 then
Yes.
If there was ever a running gag for this stream, it is that goddamn Clue quote.
Even if you're right, that would make it 1 + 1 + 2 + 1, not 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
My word.
That's what happens when you watch that movie 50 million times.
I know, right? I almost sat down and watched it the other night. It showed up on one of the streaming platforms, and I was like, oh, I should go to bed instead. But yeah, with having found that last one there. Now I can bump up my non-occupationals to where they actually are, and my skills are done. I did want to double check. Spencer, bless you. Sorry, I just saw the GIFs being posted in the chat and saw the bear walking out of the tunnel, and I'm like, fuck yeah. The the pistol, the stats that you put in there for me, I've got my skill at 40. I've got the 1d8 that you put in there. It doesn't get a damage bonus because it's nothing I can do to improve the damage unless I get silver bullets or something, I guess. The 1 with the 3 in the parentheses, is that my number of attacks?
I look back at this weaponry. So your uses per round are 1. Hang on, there's a little asterisk. Let me see what the asterisk means. Okay, do we ever get back to the asterisk? There we go. So, basically that weapon can quote unquote impale or do extra damage. So essentially, what it means is, impale, add damage plus bonus. So what that means is you get 1 use per round, but if you, so if you get like critically succeed on your roll, you can use it up to 3 times per round.
Whoo! I like that.
I think. Let me.
Range was pretty easy. That was 15 yards. I'm thinking the 6 was my ammo.
Mm-hmm.
And then that 100 is my malfunction, and I'm thinking that's my crit fail, where it just like blows up in my hand.
Yeah, so you can crit fail only if you roll a 100.
In the event of a crit fail, and this being a mechanical piece, is this weapon ruined? Or can I clear the misfire and still use it on my next round?
Let's see. I'm not 100% sure. All right. Yeah. So, you will roll a d6, and you will spend however many rounds that is trying to fix it with a mechanical repair or a shotgun roll. And if on any of those rolls you roll between a 96 and 100, the weapon is ruined.
Nice. Okay. Yep, I love all of that.
Yeah.
What do you need next?
I want Jim to talk about his skills.
Sure. So we have the basic ones that all kind of got, a lot of which got grouped, shall we say, into fighting brawl. So that is a 70 because he's a boxer. If he can't do that, what does he do in boxing? The next thing, while he's more used to taking hits, so he has a low dex, I figure he does know in a fight how to dodge things. So I gave him a 60 there. I also, as one of the things I got to choose, figure that as a boxer, being a bit of a strapping kind of fighter and having a little experience on the streets, that he know how to intimidate people pretty well. So I chose
Beautiful.
Intimidate
Yeah.
as one. If you're a fighter, it probably means you're getting beat up. You might not be able to, diagnose illnesses, but you could probably patch a wound fairly well after a good fight. So I took First Aid as well. Next, I took, because if you want to keep your public happy, if you want to keep your manager booking you for fights and getting you the bigger pockets, you might want to be able to charm them a little bit. So I gave myself charm. Because of his past, being able to kind of convince mob bosses to kind of let him go his own way, I also thought a good degree of persuasion was probably necessary for him to have. So I gave him persuasion. And this one might be a little controversial, but I kind of like the idea. When you are staring down somebody in the ring and you want every edge, knowing a little bit of psychology can definitely help read them. So knowing that, okay, they like to favor their left-hand side, that means I'm going to kind of feint that to kind of fake them out. I think psychology might be a pretty good thing to have to be able to read people. So I gave myself that as well. Also, he can throw and kick things. I kind of kept throwing and kicking low because even though, he's a fighter, he's a trained boxer. His instinct isn't going to be to use his legs or to try to grapple and or throw somebody away. He knows how to do it, but he's much more comfortable letting haymakers fly. So
Awesome.
I believe those are all my occupational skills. First Aid, Intimidate, Persuade, Psychology, Throw, Kick, Brawl, Dodge, and Charm. The ones I picked that are not just my free 20, shall we say. If you're going to be a boxer, why not know how to fast talk like Muhammad Ali a little bit? So I figured a little bit of fast talking might help in kind of being able to promote a fight or sell the fight a little bit more. So I got myself that. I figured with a roar of a crowd, the ringing of the bell, I'm going to need to be able to hear my corner man pretty well when he's giving me instructions and what to watch out for. So I took Listen as another one. Let's see what else I have here. Because he's probably used to making the mob mad. And that means that he's got to be constantly on his guard. I gave him a bonus in Spot Hidden. So you can see who might be lurking in the shadows waiting for him to come home after a fight. And just because he's the athletic sort, so I figure one of the common exercises probably is in the 20s, is you know how to jump rope. So I decided let's go that he's a jumper.
All right. I like it.
And I believe
I think all those make sense.
I think that's everything I got.
Heck yeah. Cool. All right, Spencer. Figure it out for your character? You want to talk it out? What you got?
The computer that has my character sheet on it. So if you wouldn't mind skipping over me for this one, and then I'll be right back in it.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Pickle, how about you?
I think I got them. Her main occupational skill traits: technical waitress, acting, accounting, fast talk, persuade, and psychology are broken down into character sheet. Persuade I did 70. Accounting I did 50. Fast talk I did 60. And psychology. Sorry, I'm getting
All good.
Yeah, psychology is that one, and I put that last stat there, and that is a 60. I added the rest of them. Firearms 40, sleight of hand 20, swim 20, law 40, listen 40, locksmith 20, natural world 50, I think that kind of rounds out the kind of life experiences she's had up to this point. Kind of having to make choices on the road to
You
make
said
it.
natural world?
Yeah, natural world.
Okay, hang on.
Middle column all the way down towards the bottom. Or from the bottom.
Yeah.
I assume that's like survival, nature kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, so basically that is traditional knowledge and personal observation from farmers, fishermen, inspired amateurs, and hobbyists. So that actually makes a lot of sense. Cool.
It.
Awesome. I don't know if we've got Spencer back yet or not.
Let me pull up the list and I'll tell you
Sure.
what I got. Sorry, I'm having to do this off of memory now for a second because
You're fine. You don't have to give us specific numbers or anything. Just
okay.
a couple of things, key pieces you're excited about.
The whole character.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me pull it up. Okay. So, well, that's not the right thing that I pressed. That's the right thing that I pressed. Alrighty. So, the skills that I have, I chose Axe as one of my skills. That's one of the ones that's custom for the firemen. I'm assuming that has to do not only with, being an attacker or anything specialist, but also with the other various uses of the tool, breaking and entering, using it for sweeping, using it for checking things. Just literally it is an extension, a tool that you learn how to use to be special.
Yes.
Climb, pretty self-explanatory, having to get on top of buildings, having to get around and go around furniture, getting on top and over things. Dodge, being uncannily aware of your surroundings and making sure you know what's around you at all times. Not even just in a fight, but, in a situation where you're in a dangerous position. Obviously, first aid was one that I had. That's what I believe my highest score is in. Because I figure, hey, this is something that I take to heart after, my whole backstory. I believe that not only should you be able to get somebody out of a situation, but you should be able to treat them for what happens. Another one is jump. I feel like it's important to be a more agile character. Having your equipment and everything ready while you're there.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh God Almighty, no! My partner included my tab of that J-bag. Okay, well, so I'll pull it up. I promise. Let's see what else.
You're fine.
Reputation.
Yep.
Which was obviously I'm going to be an upstanding member of the community as best as I can and be consistently interacting. Roping, which I expect to be something along the lines of knowing how to use ropes and how to technically rescue and do things like that. And then, oh God, hold this up again. Oh my God, it's empty. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. Anyways, the other ones I took were firearms handgun and firearms rifle / shotgun.
Okay. That makes sense.
I took those as my secondary skills. I also took medicine. Of the ones that were available, that one just made the most sense to me to be able to take with its description of being able to treat deeper wounds and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one I took was mechanical repair. I figured it's important to know how to maintain the things you're working on.
Yep.
And I figured that's something that my character would have been taught, at least at the very, at a a beginner expectation level,
Yeah. I think that's fantastic. Very excited for y'all, and we're still a little ways away from actually running the game, but in the meantime, if there are questions, if there are little things that you want to know as you delve deeper into your character and their build, I am always available. So everybody, for better or worse, correct or not, this is how we built them. And we have now just created 4 wonderful investigators for me to drive insane and possibly kill. It's going to be a great time. And I think that's it for our stream for the night. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you want me to keep talking?
Yeah, you ain't off the clock yet. Keep going.
I got caffeine. I'm good. What up, everybody? Dance portion of the evening. Let's go.
Boom, boom.
I don't dance, but here we go. Let everyone else do it instead of me.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna take the psychic damage today. Too tempting, but I'm not gonna take the psychic damage for the pun.
Love it.
It's right there, but no.
But if we are good to end out this stream, if anyone hung on till the end for our ridiculousness and our banter, don't forget to tune in this coming next week. This coming week, I think that means the exact same thing. But we'll be back on the 19th with our standard Lost City Denizens Social Paradox. Such a long campaign name, but the campaign will be back. We're going to see what happens in all of this insanity of us and a safe and all kinds of craziness with wherever we left it. I don't even remember anymore. Ooh, I do. Ooh.
Our friend came back.
And
she don't look good.
Yep. Ibukari has finally made an appearance. And we will figure out where that goes. This coming Wednesday with Denizens. The 26th, the following Wednesday after that, this might still be a little bit up in the air, subject to change. But I believe Spencer is going to be running a one-shot for us.
Yeah.
At some point, we're going to get Pickle behind the screen and running us a one-shot. We've also got a little bit further out, I believe June is when we are tentatively looking at actually putting these characters into play.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. I'm especially looking forward to it now that my dude has like a name and everything. So
see, y'all have kind of inspired me. I might have to change the scenario I use. We'll see what happens.
Once we also get into the second half of summer, I am also tentatively scouting around a few different places for some more guest DMs to pull in on our off-week one-shot Wednesdays, which I feel like it really rolls off the tongue. Off-week one-shots. I like the feel of that. But nobody definite yet. Months away. We will see what happens when we get there. In the meantime, do all the internet stuff. There's buttons all over the place. Go find buttons to click. You can go check out Start Playing in DM's Guild for the stuff that George does. Our lovely Arcane Keeper of the Bullshit makes dice. Go buy dice.
Pretty.
You know you want them.
Everyone likes math rocks.
You don't have enough dice. I don't care
Never.
what they told you. You don't have enough. Go get more.
Must have more click clacks. You can.
Don't forget to clothe yourself with our shirts.
Please wear clothing, and preferably with our characters' faces on it.
You can find our merch with all the character art through the Streamlab links on Twitch and on YouTube, and you can occasionally find me doing funny, stupid, jokey shit on TikTok. So go different places. Just type in Genre Mongrel. See what happens. In the meantime, thank you very much, Keeper, for walking us through this process, and
Heck yeah.
look forward to using these characters, and look forward to coming back and playing with y'all.
It's going to be a good time. Bye, everybody.
Be well, guys.
Night, everybody.